Hello, Ben. How are you doing?
Hi, how are you doing? You are changed.
Mine.
Yeah, I saw you.
I keep losing my shoe. Is that on? It is.
Oh, yeah.
Next to Grandpa. Are you next to Grandpa? Smile. 1, 2. Oh, no.
And Dad.
How about here? Mary? Mary? Mary?
Here I am at one of
I want a picture. You guys.
Johnny's got a claw here.
Oh, look.
Hi, Ben.
It is Ben the cameraman.
Hello, Ben. Hi, Ben, the cameraman.
He's focusing in on all the gorgeous girls here.
Hello. Hey, how are you doing?
Go ahead.
You're coming with me, mister.
I'm watching.
Yeah, John and Mary.
John?
John and Mary. No.
Hi, Ben. Hello, Ben.
Wow. Okay.
Hey, how was last week?
Were you having a bad hair day?
Okay, now we've got John and
We're
Renee.
together.
Okay.
Closer.
Squeeze in. Okay.
Families.
Now take a picture of us.
We will. Okay, we will. How about, come on, Renee. How about the four of you? Come on. Look at your dad. Renee, she's enough. Here he is. Oh, hey. Hello.
I know our good spot.
Let's see. We need two more.
Carol's doing?
Yes, please. It's Mom, Mom and Dad with the Mischief Makers. Okay, just a sec. Get some focus here.
Okay.
Only got one eye that focuses anymore. Thank you. Just step back, one more. We'll see. Well, let's see. Can we get all the? Oh, we have one more boy to get. All right, Ben. Well,
You know you were waiting for me. I just did this on purpose.
so
I could get all the attention, you know. Oh, you look great, Carol.
I kiss this out of you.
I love your cat.
Oh, okay, honey.
Johnny, I was going to say, all Johnny's ties were up to here. His pants were too small. I was like, he's real sensitive. Right.
James found. Well, he looks fine. James found one.
Oh, thank you. One,
Back
two,
there.
three. Looking good, folks. Right. Which one is the real one?
Which one's the
Which
real
is not like the other?
Real wheel.
Yeah, turn to the back.
Yeah,
Your old ones out of your room up there and fit it on downtown.
Oh, I remember that. I wore that when I was 8. 12.
I missed you out there at the lake or at the river yesterday.
I didn't know.
The only one over there? Now you're going to be too long. Well, no, because you do this triple wrap.
No, I do a half length. Triples. Like you should do on yours. What the one do, Lord?
I think this is one. Sweep it on us. Okay. Hurry, hurry, hurry.
That's like you.
Right?
That's like you.
That's a funny picture.
That's a photo opportunity.
Oh!
What?
Oh, and there's Dad.
Albert,
Just gonna trim a tree.
I got the perfect idea.
Doing that. Oh, goodness.
You killed it.
Well, it's a hefty branch to be cut.
Anyone saw that? I thought that was
You're sinking away.
The ground is still soft.
if you didn't know about the surprise.
I heard there was a surprise as I walked.
Everybody's good about that. Nobody cares, you know? Like, have you seen the movie?
Yeah.
The Crying Game?
Yeah.
Yeah. You just went and saw it today.
No, I was just hoping to cough up the surprise.
Oh, and now James is gonna.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. I didn't see it.
Like, oh, honey.
Together. No.
That's good.
You getting everything? Mm-hmm. Quite the crowd, huh? Pretty tough act to follow out there.
Okay, who has the list?
We'll have the list. I have it at home. But we need all of us together. And the parents, you know, their children.
All right. Let's put. And in the middle. Okay. Let's gather the families.
Put it together. Is that, it's the family picture now, the group picture.
Oh.
Wait, this is like one family on one side and one on the other and fit the rest of each. So you
Oh,
guys
okay.
want to get over there?
Everybody.
Everybody. Come on, Mary.
We're right there on those.
Yeah.
Come on, honey. Come on.
I'm gonna get you on like that and I want to get up and Renee. Here, you go down between. I just had Renee go get them. Renee over here, honey. You want Renee? Oh, another one. You just got it. What a sweetheart.
Pictures either side. Either that side or.
Put one up here.
She picked it for me.
Good. Okay. Okay, that's good.
And I'm gonna get lost in the. She'll remember this. She'll tell everybody.
That picture there. Hello, man. Yeah.
That's gonna look kind of boring.
No.
Yeah.
No, that's gonna be nice.
Going on and on.
see if we can
Bring people a
turn
little
these
closer.
people towards the middle a little bit. Like that. Okay. Good.
No, no hands.
Oh, I don't know. Okay, like
No,
you don't want to have.
We just had a flight of birds.
You may have to move over that way. Right in, okay. C's, one more time. Good. All right. Okay. That's it for the group shot.
Okay, we need parents and children.
Okay. Yeah.
Hey, Mayor, give me your camera.
Girls on one side and guys on the other. Yeah, that's great. Good.
Your grandma rolls them up. Mom, your grandma rolls them
No? I think Grandma rolls them up? I don't think so. Could be. Are you taking our pictures? That way.
Hey, pardon me, do you have any grapes
I
upon?
love her.
Pardon me, do you have any grapes upon?
I love her.
I like grapes upon.
Sorry, Carol. Thank you. No, John, why don't you break? One more time. Catherine, don't get way close. Sneeze. That's a cute one. Security guard.
Come on, girls. Come out of the background. Those are red. They have to be very red. Well, that's got reflection in or not? Get my head down.
Sun is on John's skin. Not your glasses, your skin.
Not only that, but it's
Change. Oh yeah, the shoes off for the camera. Yeah. I guess I'll have to do that then. Okay. You can't show off if you try. Change.
Faces?
allemaal een keer op de foto, de groepsfoto. En ben dan ook 14.
Right?
Okay.
I didn't sit in front of you. Okay, Marie. At least I didn't see you even go in that direction.
I think I want somebody. No, it's over, little.
Shut up. That would be a terrible
Yeah, come over a little.
My name is Renee.
there.
Renee's brush, can you do?
No, my hair's fine.
Still is in the sun. You're good. That's the brush.
Mary Sue.
You're in the light. Okay.
You have the camera, John? Or you put it down?
Oh.
She can stand between.
Oh my goodness.
How will that be? Right here. Still the sun.
I'll put them both behind you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Should we move over?
Different spot, up ahead.
Go right in front of Renee.
Best spot.
I'm Matilda.
What? Matilda?
I'm Matilda. No, it's Melda. Our names. Melda. Melda and Delmore.
Waltzing Matilda?
Obadiah. Obadiah. Nicodemus. Then Melda and Delmore. No. Joe.
Yeah, go ahead. No problem.
Joey.
All right. Go.
Mary.
And it finally broke her back. He answered the question was Walter Matilda.
Mary.
She knew her song and sang it. And it was like totally demoralizing.
Good.
Mary. 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 Joey.
Go ahead. You guys work quick.
Oh,
Take a left.
How's the squirrel?
okay.
Thank you.
Oh, there.
Mary, you can't take wrong.
Last shoot, a little some of that. So, all right.
Smile, it's almost over, honey.
Yes.
Hey, Dad.
It's Marie, and now it's on Bob again.
Susan. Mary. Mary Susan. Look up
Okay,
here.
I know.
ready? We're gonna do this one more
Hey,
time.
don't just
All right, I'll bring the file.
Okay? Go sideways,
Huh?
sideways. There you go. That looks good. Okay.
Bye.
know, I might put down.
Isn't that a cool name? Carol? Just plain soda? Okay, which one?
What would you like to do?
Whether it's selected
What are secret keys?
it's like a phyllo pastry. Actually, that was a one change because they didn't have one selected for the other appetizer, so that was a substitution.
You mean you want to pass?
This is like the rice.
You too?
Oh, look at that one.
Got a menu. Well, let's see. Marinated grilled chicken.
I'll take two.
You know, we had chicken last night. We had chicken tonight.
Yeah.
Fresh brook trout. Sounds good. Filet mignon.
Is that right? Oh, the reason is it's a phosphorus. So we sell off and it warms things up. You can go cap a freezer bag in there for 28
Good to have you here.
How should I have my medium?
That's true.
Sue? Now, what are the kids going to order?
She already ordered. Except for Nate. Nate's the only one that has ordered.
They're not used nice and
That was like,
You have to start.
Me?
Marco.
It's like a boat near
Yeah, I'm not trying to push that happen.
Oh.
Well, it's coming. First, try this. Get some wrappers.
Oh, she sure does. And she probably has a wine list, don't she?
Is it done now?
And these thy gifts which we are about to receive from thy bounty through Christ our Lord. In the name of the Father and of the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Ja. Onze waren in de hemel zweet.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
tried to get her.
I know.
He could get halfway.
But it always can go about halfway through. I know that you can do it.
You can't do it anymore?
Somebody else is going to get rid of the flowers.
Right up to the old west
I guess we learned something about flower arrangements. Well, Carol thought they should be higher.
Yeah, they do some.
You know what? They only give you a portion. Leave it right there.
Probably is.
Oh, Carolyn,
There's hundreds, you know. Yours looks good too. Where's the calories? Where'd you go? Did you choke all that down?
Zero. I'll get some.
You can start it with a kiss.
Okay, quiet.
Now, we have a special story today, and as we read the story, perhaps you two would like to follow it.
Turn the pages, and David, would you start? And would everybody, when it says your name, would you, after, there's a section for each person to read, except Catherine, who's going to give Mom and Dad a present at the end. Okay?
Our story starts 4 days after World War I was finally over, when Bob was born in Kalamazoo in 1918. Bob's dad, John, was an easygoing but hardworking guy. John and his brother Tom made cigars and sold them, and candy, in their cigar store. Bob's mom, Catherine, was a free spirit who went off adventuring in the West when she was young. Something Bob's dad made us think that Catherine proposed to him. Most unusual in those days.
Dad, see the pictures too.
Yeah, the text is there if you follow.
Here it is, okay.
Can't hear you.
Bob went to school some of the time. Other times he thought it would be more fun to send himself on his own field trip. He learned how to sharpen saws from a group of carpenters one day, and he talked a man at a guitar factory into showing him around another day. He and his friends drove to Chicago and managed to get in to see a burlesque show. He spent summers at his family's cottage at Indian Lake and learned to fish and swim and sail.
One summer, his mom and dad piled Bob and his brothers, John and Fritz, into the Chrysler and went camping out west to see the bears in Yellowstone, the faces on Mount Rushmore, the Badlands, and Pikes Peak. In the meantime, about 40 miles away in South Haven, Anne was born in the middle of strawberry season in 1921. Her parents, James and Maria, had made the long trip by boat from Italy to the new country for a new start. They lived and worked in Chicago until they had saved enough money to buy a farm in Covert near Lake Michigan.
Anne started school when she was 4 years old and finished high school at 16. She worked very hard on the farm with her sister Millie and brothers Tony, Harry, Al, and Jerry. She also learned to play the violin and to sew and cook. She won singing contests, singing O Solo Mio, and was the only girl cheerleader. And she was always the star of the high school plays. At 17, she was the first of the kids to go away to school. Where did she go? Why, to Kalamazoo.
By this time, Bob was working at Michigan Bell Telephone Company for fun. For fun, he went hunting and canoeing, joined photography and astronomy clubs, and began to fly. Even though she started business school a little late, Anne soon went to the top of her class. She learned to type, stenotype, balance accounts, and run all sorts of office machines. And where did she find a job? Well, at the telephone company. And there she met Bob. She said, "Hello, Robert." and his heart melted, and they fell in love.
And she learned to play tennis because he asked her to play and she wanted to say yes. And he learned how to dance because she loves to dance. Then another war began. Bob joined the army, and Bob and Ann got married. And Bob went to war. And Ann wrote to Bob every day, and they had a baby, Marie, while he was gone. Ann and Marie...
Immaculate conception.
Ann and Marie moved into a little house in Culver, and the baby learned to say "Good night, Daddy" to his picture every night. Fortunately, when the war was over, Bob came back, or the story would be very short.
They moved to an old house that needed lots of work on East Main Street in Kalamazoo. And soon Marie, who told wonderful stories about her naughty friend Chessa, got a little sister Carol, which she wasn't too happy about at first. And Bob learned about babies and crying and diapers and such, which he missed out on with Marie, and Marie told Carol wonderful stories. And then their first son, Robert Michael, was born, the first grandson for the Vanderbilts and the Sarnos. And that was a big responsibility, so he grew up responsible. And he inherited Bob's knack for making things work.
Then two more sons, John and James, were born. And James and John became sidekicks and buddies, and where one was, the other was, and both were into mischief. And they still are. No. The big old house in Kalamazoo was fun to play in. In the summer, the children caught lightning bugs with Bob, and Ann helped chase their rabbits in the big back garden when they escaped from their hutch. The family swam at the Vanderbilt's cottage at Indian Lake and visited Ann's family at the farm in Culver and got Hershey bars from Uncle Tom.
And in the winter, Santa Claus always showed up. And then the telephone company wanted Bob to go to the Grand Rapids and teach in the schools. So the family packed up their bags and the swing set and moved to the house on Rosewood, which had all sorts of interesting features, like a 2-story clothes chute that James could be fit into, and 50 other children on the block. A cottage on the Lake Michigan, or for the day at the beach at Holland. And sometimes Bob and Ann played tennis, and sometimes they went to a St. Stephen's dance. In the winter, Bob and Ann took the kids skating on Reed's Lake. The kids also had fun building snow forts, igloos, and skating ponds in the backyard. Bob and Ann bought a piano, and the kids began to learn to play.
And then came the year when the telephone company wanted Bob to be an engineer at Bell Laboratories in New Jersey for a year. He went to New Jersey, and so the kids could stay in school, the rest of the family stayed home. Every other weekend, they all went to the airport to meet Bob. And over Thanksgiving, the whole family flew to New Jersey for a wonderful week. They went to New York City and rode on the ferry and saw the Statue of Liberty and Broadway and Wall Street and went to the very top of the Empire State Building. They listened to the translating earphones in the UN building, took a taxi cab, and were in a TV audience. They went to West Point and to Bell Laboratories, and an Army officer even raised and pointed a Nike missile just for them. And they saw the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
And Santa Claus came again that year too, and brought bicycles. And in January, they had a new daughter, Barbara, and they all played with her constantly. And soon David arrived, and Mary. And the older kids helped take care of the 3 little ones.
In 1965, the telephone company tapped Bob on the shoulder again, and the family packed up and moved to Holland. The little kids had even more fun playing at the house on Don Ann Drive because it had a creek and woods and sand dunes. They all made their mark at the Tulip Festival. After a year, the telephone company moved Bob back to Grand Rapids, and Bob and Ann bought a house on Cambridge, only a block away from St. Stephen's. The new house was big and also needed lots of work, but Bob and Ann and the kids settled in fast.
Barbara, David, and Mary grew up, they followed the older kids' footsteps in playing with the neighborhood kids, playing the piano and other instruments, and swimming in the summertime. The little kids went to St. Stephen's School, and the big kids went to Catholic Central in Marywood. Ann worked a lot at St. Stephen's, in the school library, and the PAX resale shop. When the priest needed something mended or new baptism bibs, they called Ann. When they had trouble with something electrical, they called Bob.
One day, Ann took James and Mary shopping at Meyer 50 Acres, and somehow they convinced her that the family needed a dog. They named him Max, after a priest at St. Stephen's. Meanwhile, the older kids were growing up and leaving the nest. Marie got a job in Washington, D.C., and Carol joined the Peace Corps. A few years later, Mike was drafted into the Army.
In 1970, Bob and Ann decided that it was time for another vacation. They bought new sleeping bags for Barb, David, and Mary, packed up the station wagon, and drove to visit Marie in Washington, D.C. What a week! They saw the White House, the Lincoln Memorial, the Smithsonian Museum, and went to Sunday Mass at the National Cathedral. They also went to the Washington Memorial, Mount Vernon, and the zoo, which was a lot bigger than John Ball Park. Bob and Ann showed the kids the bears, the hippos, and the monkeys, who stared back at them, and the original Smokey the Bear. On the way back to Michigan, they stopped at the Gettysburg Museum in Pennsylvania. When Bob and Ann were driving, the kids asked, "How many more miles?" Only a couple times. And over the years, Santa kept coming. Where's Ben? Oh, okay. I guess you'll have to take it,
Ben is
Joyce.
up there with the camera.
After the big kids had all left home and the little kids weren't so little, Bob and Ann decided to buy a little place in Covert next to where Ann grew up. It was a good place for them to relax on the weekends and to visit with Ann's family. Ann got a house, yard and garden in fine shape. Bob fixed up the vineyard, experimented with different kinds of apples, made wine, and even kept bees. By this time, wedding bells had rung, and Mike had brought Kay into the family. Over the years, the family got several more special additions: Sue, Bob, Mike, John, and Amy. Coincidentally, Bob and Ann also were blessed with beautiful grandchildren: Jonathan and Renee, then David Michael, John Thomas, Mary Susan, Catherine, and Sarah. Santa started working overtime. After all the kids had left home and Bob had retired after 43 years with Michigan Bell, Bob and Ann had more time to themselves. They were able to spend more time in Covert with Ann's family. They even managed to take a few vacations. And then I have to pass it to you.
Ah, me. Oh, where were you? Right. They went to a memorial, spent a memorial month in Hawaii with their longtime friends, the Wagstaffs. Bob and Ann also traveled throughout Europe. They visited with Ann's relatives in Italy, Mario and Pasquale Capiano. And they visited one of Bob's relatives, Joyce Elsing Vanderweel, and her husband, Ben Elsing, in Vlissingen. Joyce and Ben also have come to the United States to visit. And after their 50th anniversary, Bob and Ann went on a wonderful cruise.
You did?
What? Well, I missed. Where do we go next?
Oh, be nervous.
That's the end. Then you just have a page of singing.
Where did you get this picture?
Is that the end?
Well, that's the end.
Where did you get this
What-
picture with the dad with the trucks? Look at all these faces. I'd like a picture of that.
Don't wonder what it is.
Account information, telephone banking center, phone call lets you do it all. taken out a loan for us.
Taking a second mortgage on a house. What's new?
There's the first mortgage already?
Look at the story.
See, you Bob, it says, at the end, it says, the last line. We went on a cruise.
Just a minute. Oh, look, we aren't done yet.
That was, you read it.
You read that.
Oh, I didn't see it. And there's a picture that Bob and Ed went on a wonderful cruise, and there's a cruise boat.
And then,
Hey, what is it?
Those are checks.
Oh my God, really?
You've never done that before?
No. This is all this
you
is.
mean we're going on a cruise?
Here. Oh, look at $3,600. Ay, ay, ay. Gee, $3,600? My God. Gee, look at that. Ay, ay, ay.
Well, it wasn't in there.
Well,
Yeah, I know, I already gave it to them.
yeah, I don't know what to say. You leave me breathless. Okay, I guess. Bon voyage.
There you go.
Okay, thank you so much. Ay, ay, ay. Oh, no. That's fantastic.
I opened it up to the previous, the very beginning.
I picked out the best.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, okay. Well, sit down. I have a couple of things.
Dan has a couple of words.
Yeah.
Couple words of wisdom.
Yeah, a little bit. Really, not so much words of wisdom, but I thought I just might want to say something. And rather than coming up with anything original, probably just talk about a few quotes about getting old and marriage and the golden age. Old age isn't so bad when you consider the alternative. That was my friend Maurice Chapelier. And one of the early movies that my boyfriend and I saw one time was Maurice Chapelier, say in Mimi. Terrific movie. I always enjoyed movies.
Same cabinet.
Yeah, poor little girls. Okay. Maybe that's why I picked the nice one there. Well, marriage demands the greatest understanding of the art of sincerity between two human beings. A mother comes to mind when I'm thinking about this next quote. Patience makes a woman beautiful in middle age, and that's Elliot Paul. Another one, time will run back and fetch the golden age, the age of gold, and that's Milton. You know Milton. Okay, now.
Is that Uncle Milton?
Not Uncle Milton. No,
That's from
no, you
Paradise
know which
Lost.
Milton. Okay, I picked out a card for Mother, and she's already read it, but I'd like to read it to her again. The day we were married, I thought to myself, we're as close as two people can be. I couldn't imagine how love could grow stronger, or how you could mean more to me. Now, as I'm thinking of all that we've shared, and all we've accomplished together, I can see how we've grown even closer then, and I love you more now than ever. Happy anniversary. One final quote from St. Simon. The golden age is before, not behind us, so we still have a lot more to go. Happy anniversary. Okay.
What did they get named?
There you go. Is that from that wonderful memory? Long time ago. Okay.
Would did they do that, Jen?
Is that what you'd like us to do?
Well, to have cake at weddings was that?
Okay, let's do that. Okay, well, I'll save the top and keep that on the way it is. I ensure that this bottom cookie is on.
But then you're gonna have the top at home.
Yeah, I added.
No wedding dress?
Keep it in your freezer for 10 years.
Thank you, 15.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. It's good thing to share.
Oh, before it was monster. Oh, yeah.
Watching you guys. I mean, I can't do it.
Like flowers yet to come.
We're going to Santa.
Just a little bit of leftover cake.
We're here.
Mary, don't ruin your heels, honey.
I'll be a greeter.
Mary Susan.
Last night, the night before, she's been supposed to be this morning so far. I'll be a
See you.